paradigm. If somebody gave you rose-colored shades, then everything you look at will have the rose color. It is not that these objects have the rose color, but it is because of the glasses you're putting on. If you change these glasses so that you put on, let's say, green-colored glasses, everything around will appear green. So the problem are not the things you're seeing, but the color that has been given to these things you're seeing are the shades that you're putting on. It is not a matter of climbing the ladder. The question should be, is this ladder leaning on the right wall? Hello viewers, once again we are grateful that you're tuned to our channel here, and today once again we are still on the human mind. You don't see things as they are, you see them as you are conditioned to see them. Once you change the way you look at things, the things you look at changes. There are two important things I want to talk about today about your mind. Number one is paradigm, and then number two is the reticular activating system. They play such a pivotal role in how you come to get the results you get. But very few of us, if any, understand how these two come to play. Now, paradigm. What is paradigm? Paradigm refers to the filter through which you interpret what you see and experience. Let me define it again. Paradigm refers to the filter through which you interpret what you see and experience. What about the reticular activating system? The reticular activating system is as well a filter that helps you to tell this is important and this one is not important. It filters out what is not important to you, and it brings to your awareness what is important to you. These, dear viewers, play such a pivotal role in the success you get. Now let me go back to paradigm. Paradigm are like glasses. If you went to a place, or if somebody gave you rose-colored shades, then everything you look at will have the rose color. It is not that these objects have the rose color, but it is because of the glasses you're putting on. If you change these glasses so that you put on, let's say, green-colored glasses, everything around will appear green. So the problem are not the things you're seeing, but the color that has been given to these things you're seeing are the shades that you're putting on. So all of us, we look at the same world, but what we see is different depending with the glasses we are putting on. And these glasses are like now the mind. There's a program that all of us have that now makes us see things the way we see it. I love the way Stephen Covey, in one of his books, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, brings it. In fact, he uses a wonderful analogy of maps. That all of us have maps that helps us interpret or that determine the direction we are moving in our lives. For example, let's assume you are in Nairobi town. You want to identify a place within Nairobi town. But then somebody gave you a map of Arusha town. You are in Nairobi, yes. You want to get a place within Nairobi, yes. But the map you're using is that of Arusha town. You'll be so frustrated. You may even go, you may increase your speed, but you may never get to your destination. Why? Because the map you are using is not for the town you are in. But once you have the right map, if somebody now gave you the right map, you will easily identify that place within Nairobi town. You may even move slow, but eventually you're going to get to that place. Now, something else. Let me talk something small about the RAS, Reticular Activating System. You only notice in your life the things that are important. What makes you notice the things that are important is your reticular activating system. Let's say once you have thought of something and then your reticular activating system becomes activated, what happens is it now starts filtering things that are related to that very thing that you are thinking about. Let's say you go and purchase a Subaru car, a blue Subaru car. Subaru owners will agree they love blue Subarus. I don't know why. Maybe I'm yet to find out. But once you go and purchase a Subaru car, you will notice that immediately after you've purchased it, you now start noticing so many other Subaru cars. Now the question is, did the Subaru cars come because you've purchased? No, they have always been there. But because your reticular activating system didn't have a Subaru, because your reticular activating system didn't have a Subaru as one of those important things, you could not notice the Subarus. But once you have it activated, now you start noticing those things. My friend, unfortunately, most of us, our reticular activating system is activated to help us notice the things that we don't want. And therefore, because our reticular activating system is activated to make us notice the things we don't want, they are those things that we see most of the time. And because we see them most of the time, we become frustrated. The law of attraction says that you attract the things that you're in tune with. The more you think about it, the more you attract it. So if you're thinking most of the time about the things you don't want, what are you going to attract more of? You're going to attract more of the things that you don't want. Now the question is, knowledge is useless until you have some ways you can apply it. Now, how do we come to get our paradigm? In my earlier videos, I talked about the computer analogy. And I said in a computer, there is an operating system. And the operating system, I did define it as the main system through which other softwares of a computer operate. Now, that is similar to a paradigm that all of us, when we are born, we don't have programs. Now, as we go through life, especially at our earlier stages of life, the information we receive from the environment starts conditioning us. They give you now the lens through which you are going to look at the world. For example, if you grew up in a business environment, you start looking at the world from the business perspective. If you grew up in a farming environment, you start looking at the world from the farming glasses. Now that means that is how you're going to look at life for the rest of your life, unless you decide again to change the glasses or your paradigm. By age 12, the program through which you see the world has been fully formed. And that means now you start looking at the world in a very limited way. We go through the same experiences, but we give it different interpretations depending with our paradigm. Now, How do you come to get the results you get? Number one, this is how your brain operates. You get information. Then after getting information, if you pay attention to this information, the information will give you thoughts. You start thinking about it. As you think about it over and over, it starts evoking emotions in you. And once you become emotional, you will act on your emotions. So that means that you only act upon thoughts that have been thought over and over until they have given you a given feeling. And once you have that, the emotions, you act on them. And after you act on them, you get the results you're getting. Now, if you wanted to change the results you're getting, what you have first of all to do, change the information that you're receiving. That means the people you listen to, the books you read, your association. Once you change, even the music you listen to, because all these things give you the thoughts you think. And as you think about it over and over, it comes now to program you, or it comes to give you given feelings. And you only act the way you feel. You don't act on what you know, you act on what you feel. And that means, and that is why for the Christian audience, the Holy Book says that guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it comes the issues of life. But it's not easy, because the same Solomon says that he that has the ability to watch over his mind is mightier than he that watches over the city. So that ability to control your mind is not an easy thing. It sounds easy, it is not. That being so careful on what gets in is not as easy. But you have to do that if you desire to have that very good life that you desire. You must have a place. For you to get that place you desire in the sun, you have to be willing to leave the shade. Most of us are not willing to leave our comfortable places. We are so comfortable in our comfort zones that we are not willing to leave. But for us to get the thing that we desire, we must be willing. We must be ready to move. And once we move, we are going to get different results. Now, how do we change our paradigm? Our mind, especially very early in the morning and towards late when we are almost sleeping, the brain waves slow down. The waves become almost like that of a child. Those are the best times to reprogram your mind. That means immediately when you wake up, the information you listen to or what you tell yourself has a great, you get access to your gadget, you go on your social media platforms. The information you receive from these social media platforms, some of it, in fact most of it, is not constructive. Now imagine programming your mind with information that is not constructive. It is so irritating. Most of us, we are on our social media platforms until we close our eyes. You have your phone with you until some of us even sleep and leave even our data on and all that. Now you can imagine you have not been so keen on the very information you get in the morning, and you've also not been very keen on the very information you listen to before you go to sleep. That means you are conditioning, or your brain, or the way your mind is going to operate, it's going to operate in such a way that it is just nasty. Because garbage in, garbage out. As you get in nasty information, as you get in information that is not so relevant, the same is going to come out. You're going to sometimes feel stressed because maybe what you're reading is all about stressful situations. So it evokes emotions in you, and then now you start acting as a stressful person, Why are you acting a stressful person? You're acting a stressful person because you started your day by feeding on stressful information. Now, what am I saying, dear viewers? That we really need to check. The first thing, it is not a matter of climbing the ladder. The question should be, is this ladder leaning on the right wall? And I have suggested means. Anything you desire in life, you could be desiring to become wealthy, for example. Why can't you make it a habit that immediately you wake up, feed yourself information on wealth? Either start even with a book. Immediately wake up and read Think and Grow Rich. Get access to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Start with that. And shortly before you go to sleep, why can't you get access to a book and read even a few lines or a few paragraphs so that as you go to sleep, you are thinking about that? You may desire to become healthy, for example. Why can't you keep on telling yourself, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm this, so that as you go to sleep, your body knows that it's healthy. As you wake up, tell yourself, I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I'm ready to face my day. As you do that, you start conditioning you. Even if you wanted to become spiritual, why can't you wake up and the first thing you start thinking about is your spiritual well-being? Start with a prayer if you are Christian. Then go through some Bible verses so that your faith becomes strong. Faith comes by hearing. The more you hear, the more you develop faith in what you're hearing. So I want to challenge all of us that let us take note so that we be so keen on what gets in. And as we become so keen on what gets in, we will be surprised because our life or our lives will start working differently. And as it works differently, even the results we are going to get in our life will be different. I think for today, dear viewers, I want to end there and still ask you to stay tuned because I want to assure you there are concepts that I've explained in this video that you not hear once and then you get them home. Listen to it over and over. It is only through that that you come to condition or reprogram your mind. It is not easy, but it can be done. And the few that will master the courage to stay this course to the end, the results will amaze you. Thank you so much. And once again, if you find this content useful, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe so that at least more people can be impacted. Thank you so much for today. Stay blessed.